Now, the real question for happy hour today is, folks, do you know this song? Y'all, happy hour. It is the end of a Monday, April 27th, and it is time to have something in your glass to mark the end of your workday for us to log on and connect together. So you guys know the drill. We're going to give folks a few minutes to get in the room. And I'm going to jam out to this song. And let's see if you... Oh, and somebody's already in the comments with the correct answer. Y'all know the drill. Hop into the comments. Let us know where you are, what you're drinking. Happy hour, guys. Jeffrey, you are correct. This is indeed fastball. What's up, Pam in League City? Drinking old fashions. Who else is in here with us today? What's up, Alta? Drinking Malbec in Frisco. I love it. Guys, it is a beautiful 87 degrees in West Austin. The sun is out. There's even a breeze. I am digging this weather. I think, it might be close to getting towards like the summer temps, but I'm going to enjoy the heck out of this right now. Y'all, it's happy hour, and it is time to end your workday. So get something in your glass. Hop in the comments. Let us know what you're drinking or where you're joining us from. Hi, William from Lake Jackson. Chris up in Chicago in the house drinking 17 Tariga Nacional. Jeffrey's drinking Malbec High Estate 17. Tina and Dirk, red wine with grilled steaks. Tina, I'm going to need some more information on red wine. You got to be more specific than that. I love you. Adam Georgetown, drinking Jean-Claude Debon Special Selection Beaujolais. Like to see somebody drinking some Beauj in the house. All right, some Gamay. It's a great day for some Gamay. Let's be real about that. All in, my Canadian brother. 60 degrees in Toronto. Cheers with some rosé. Man, I wish I was in Toronto. 60 sounds great, but I am not hating what you are seeing on the screen right now. JR, what is up? Good to see you. I'm going to end that music. If you didn't know that song, that is The Way by Fastball. And if you didn't know it, you should know it. It's an incredible song. I love that you're drinking the Pet Nat JR. Good to see you. Terry in Rockport, hello. Tina's drinking Signor Sangio. I love it. More folks down the road on 290. Let's bring in a couple of guests today. I want some other folks to be able to say hi to you. We're going to go to a William Chris team member first. So... hello, Susie. How are you?
I could not be better.
I love it. Well, first of all, where are you? And then second of all, what are you drinking?
So first of all, I have the privilege of being on the High Estate today. I'm working curbside. I am super blessed and so honored to be a part of this William Chris family. So thank you. And then secondly, I am drinking the 500 block Merlot, the 2017 from Granite Hill.
I love Merlot, and I feel like people need to be drinking more of it. So can we please all get past whatever crazy information you got from the Sideways movie and get back on the Merlot bandwagon, please?
I agree. That's why I intentionally chose this one today. So thank you.
Well, cheers to you, Susie. It's good
Cheers
to see you. I miss seeing you in person. For those of you out there who don't know Susie or haven't had the opportunity, the joy of getting to meet Susie, she is one of our incredible tasting room ambassadors and has been a great curbside ambassador, it sounds like, today. So continuing, and also a star student in our wine school. So Susie, you also are on the fast track to getting more wine certifications yourself. Remind me, you have your WSET 2 on the way to 3, is that right?
Yes, indeed. And I have to tell you, I said this today when I was studying in a low moment. The way that you present wine school is way better and so much less confusing than I have been studying on my own. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. Kind words. I do love teaching, and it's easier when you have great students like you. So cheers. Hope the study is going well, and can't wait to catch up on what you're learning. We'll talk soon.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks, Steve. Bye.
All right, guys. We've got an amazing team. If you couldn't tell, Susie is just one of the many incredible folks who are continuing to help us stay going. But we are turning, we are selling wine. Our fans, you guys are joining us, and it is just such a joy to have them as a part of our team. Next up, we have a special guest today. I'm going to bring him on to say hi and let us know where he is and what he's drinking. Guys, I'd like to introduce you to my friend Patrick. Patrick, where are you and what are you drinking?
I'm on the patio of my apartment on a nice off day in Southeast Austin. And I'm drinking what every Somm drinks on their off day, Napa Chardonnay, Stony Hill.
I love that. What vintage is that? I'm a huge Stony Hill fan.
2013.
13. I love it. Guys, for those of you who don't know, Stony Hill is, I would still call them a Napa outlier. I'd be curious to know your thoughts. I think they're like old school Napa and have kind of stayed true to a leaner version of Chardonnay.
Absolutely. They are the definition of an outlier. Didn't make red wine until the 2000s. Founded in the 40s, known for Riesling and Chardonnay, and the wines are freaking great.
I love that, man. Well, hey, I'm so glad to have you on today. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day off with us. I'll bring you back up here in just a little bit, but cheers. Happy hour, sir.
Cheers.
Guys, you heard it there. He's drinking some delicious stuff. I love having Somm's on. If you didn't catch the tongue-in-cheek joke there, Napa Chardonnay is not the typical Somm drink of choice, especially on their day off. They are running usually for water, kombucha, Gatorade. Also, if they're going to drink wine, probably champagne, German Riesling, some other kind of acid bomb. Somms love their high acid, those refreshing wines. I'm usually no different, but I am loving this 15 cab today. Let's say I had a few more folks in the comments before I jump into the wine. Luke is drinking La Morvet and Fred. Good to see you, Luke. Geraldine, Scott's having a Dos Equis after working on the greenhouse. Guys, little preview. We're putting up a greenhouse at the winery. It's exciting. Paige, what's up, Paige? Also, I would like to point out, because it hasn't, that JR and Paige, one has already been a guest. Paige is going to be a guest tomorrow, and they are loving the stash that Pat has on him. That's not the typical look for Patrick, so we're going to give him some extra special mustache love on the Wine Nerd section. Ken, howdy from San Antonio. Good to see you. Crystal's drinking water on the rocks today. I hear that. Elaine, hello from Dallas. Okay, guys, let's talk about what I'm drinking. Continue to drop in. I want to know where you are and what you're drinking. But first, let's talk about what I'm drinking. So let's get this up there. We've got a Cabernet Sauvignon, Granite Hill Vineyards, Bell Mountain AVA. So there's a little bit of like wine nerdery, guys. Did you know that the Bell Mountain AVA is inside of the Texas Hill Country AVA? It's part of the rain shadow that's formed by Enchanted Rock. And this is, let's get this in the middle of the camera, 2015. Guys, you don't see a lot of these kinds of wines floating around. And if you are a wine club member with us, you are lucky enough to have access to a wine like this, because we just launched our library section on our website. So if you're not a wine club member, I do believe there's still a few spots open. So if you want access to really great aged wines, it's not typical that we've got a 5-year-old wine just regularly for sale, because we're usually selling current vintage. So guys, I'm so excited to talk to y'all about this. First of all, I can't believe I have this in front of me, because even though I work for William Chris, I don't get to drink a ton of library wines. So, I mean, Susie will back you up on this, right, Susie? Like, we don't drink a ton of aged wine at the winery. It's usually pretty current release stuff, right? Like
that, and employees can't get what members can get. So it pays to be a member of William Chris.
I love that. It's so true, guys. I wish that I had the pleasure of drinking more of this aged stuff. I have to kind of twist the arm of Chris and Anthony. But hey, I twisted the arm enough, and they were nice enough to let me share this with you guys to talk about it. So let's jump in. You know, you guys have had 6 weeks, guys. It's the sixth week we've been doing happy hour to practice talking about wine. You guys know that I typically start with what does it smell like? So let's all take another drink. Happy hour. Let's smell and taste our wines or drinks or old fashions. You know, I make all kinds of mouth noises slurping this wine. Guys, first up on the nose, the first thing I noticed about this, it's not typical, is chocolate. Guys, there's all kinds of chocolate all over this wine. A lot of that is going to come from, you get some barrel aging and some age on the wine, and those kind of chocolatey notes start to come out with age. You see this in bigger red wines. Cab, Merlot will also do that. You get some chocolatey notes with some age. That's definitely developing here. And so I am super stoked that with age, that I'm getting to enjoy some of those really awesome kind of cocoa notes. Obviously, it's got red fruit here. This is red and black fruit for me. So I'm thinking like cherry, raspberry world, maybe a little bit of plum on the nose. Structure-wise, remember how it's built. You know, this is fairly low alcohol. Yeah, there's only 13.6 alcohol. Not a lot of burn in the chest. About medium acid, just a medium level of saliva. Remember, that's our body's way of telling us acidity. And then the tannin, guys, this is what's really cool. In its youth, these wines can have a lot of tannin because cab grapes are thick-skinned. They're going to carry a lot of power and structure. And with age, that starts to soften up. And you're starting to get that really nice place of kind of more dusty, velvety tannins. So you start to think about not needing these very, you know, fatty pieces of meat, but maybe like a filet. Man, I could really go for... maybe even like a pork chop or a pork tenderloin sounds really good with this wine. Definitely want some meat protein here. It's a pretty hefty, like fruit driven wine, but with some nice earth. I think it's starting to get a little bit of that earthiness that you get with some more aged cabs. And so don't be afraid to have a nice like piece of meat that's a little bit maybe dry aged, a little bit of spice on it that'll go nice with the wine. So I am all about it. Loving this wine. Again, we're going to be sharing some libraried wines on the What is D Drinking segments that are available only to our wine club members. But if you're not a wine club member, I do believe we still have a few slots. So hop onto the website and get into the wine club so you can buy these libraried wines because they are special, very special. Okay, guys, that's it for what I'm drinking today. Let's all have another drink. I wanted to shout out Jessica. She threw 3 stars in the comments. She's a first timer. Let's all say hi to Jessica. Jessica and Bernie, Southbound Greyhound. I think I know what a Greyhound is. I'm not sure what a Southbound Greyhound is. So you might have to tell me if that's what you're drinking. I'm going to need to know a little bit more about that. I love this sherry from Lago Vista, Dottie in Lubbock, Lane in Fredericksburg. Man, I love it. Wishing we had a bottle of Mary Ruth. That's a good follow-up right there, Jessica. I'm gonna highlight that there. You might be a first-timer, but you know what's up with our signature white wine. So it's good to have you here on Happy Hour with us. And it's time to bring back our special guest of the day. So let's bring Pat back up. Patrick, good to see your face again. First of all, we have to address the stash before I introduce you properly. So tell me, what was the genesis for going with the stash look, man?
You know what? Someone put an idea in my head about a week and a half ago. And so it seems like the Jeffries management team is going to all go stashed at one point, and we'll have a pretty nice picture to show for it. But it was just time for a little bit of a change. Everyone's crazy right now, right?
Man, you are a brave soul. I do love the team spirit, though, something you guys can do together. So I want to know, so first of all, for everybody who doesn't know, Patrick is a beverage director with the MMH Restaurant Group in Austin, and also works pretty heavily at Jeffries. One of the MMH restaurants is where I see him most frequently. Even this past Sunday, got some, which I guess that was yesterday. Wow, feels like forever ago. Got a really amazing Italian white wine per his recommendation, and got to see him in person, of course, socially distanced, but learned a ton. He's introduced me to a lot of wines outside my comfort zone because he knows that I like Sommelier wines, and sometimes he loves to throw like Napa Cab and Napa Chardonnay at me, and gets me out of my comfort zone, so I appreciate that. But Pat, tell us, where are you originally from? And I kind of want to know, like, where did your wine journey begin?
I am originally from St. Louis, born and raised. Went to school there, graduated from St. Louis University, and worked at the Four Seasons. Got a beverage gig at a wine bar that was opening up in St. Louis. Became the corporate wine director for that company throughout the Midwest, across 5 different states. and then got pulled down here to work at Jeffries, and then now my official title is the assistant wine director for MMH, and it's been a wild ride, but something I really appreciate.
I love that, man. So you've been in Central Texas or in the Austin area for how long now?
In July, it's going to be 2 years.
2 years, man. Well, I know that you still post a ton about hockey. It's still kind of a weird thing for me to see that. I went to one NHL game when I was living in North Carolina, and I was so shocked by how fast the game was because it doesn't look that fast on TV. Yeah. But man, I appreciate your love of all things St. Louis. Still, it's I don't think you take the Patrick out of St. Louis, but not the St. Louis out of Patrick. Is that how it goes?
I think that's the saying, yeah.
Well, hey, I'm really stoked to jump in. I want to talk about the state of the restaurant wine world for a little bit. I know that this has been a pretty difficult time for you, people in our industry, restaurant groups, and fellow folks who are in the comments, even who are other industry friends. But I kind of want to hear kind of your take on how things had to evolve and kind of what's been going on specifically in your world with how things have changed.
Yeah, I think things changed for everyone pretty dramatically, and luckily, and in some ways unluckily, but we shuttered the doors a few days before the stay-at-home order, and from that moment, we've had tremendous leadership from Larry McGuire and Tommy Mormon, and they wanted to keep as many people employed as possible. And I know that unfortunately, we had to make some really difficult choices, but we tried to keep as many best interests in mind with the idea that we're trying to make this as short term as possible. So with as much pain as has happened in the last 6 weeks, and the psychological impact of us having to separate from our hourly staff, that's basically our family. We've made inroads, and I know that everyone that walks into the buildings and every MMH restaurant that's still operating knows that the main reason we're doing it is to fight for our employees to come back. And I've never been more motivated in my entire life. And I wake up every day with an immense amount of energy, knowing that what our end all goal is to bring the teams back.
Yeah, and I love that, and I love the idea. Like, there's this all constant hope and look towards the future, right? Like, we could get mired down in the muck of what's going on day to day and how hard it is to change and navigate, but with that kind of mindset of man, we can't wait to be in the future and have that kind of sense of normalcy back in folks. You mentioned when we were having this conversation initially that you've seen some really cool things have to happen, maybe even that's kind of forced some good things. So tell me the good news in the midst of this. What are you seeing either with you or your team, or what's going on the ground?
I think when things go back to normal, I think people are going to be, especially with restaurants that were fortunate enough to stay open, they're going to be shocked at the abilities of managers that survived this crisis, because we're having to do every job, and there are no longer any titles. We're not looking at someone as a superior or a subordinate or anything like that. It's just we're all on equal playing field. So if the general manager at Jeffries has to be on dish pit for the entire night, that's what's going to happen. But what's happened is we've had to grow so close to the restaurant operation in each restaurant. And it's really amazing to see people have personal growth and professional growth by having to be challenged in this way. And that's one of the really big positives from this situation, is that we're being challenged. We're doing this as safely as we possibly can. But you see the growth of people and you can't help but smile. And on the other side of that, you definitely, your heart goes out to every employee that we weren't able to retain, hopefully as temporarily as possible. But very rarely in the restaurant industry do you get an opportunity to have an extended amount of time off for personal reflection and all of those things, and to make yourself better. And I'm hoping that everyone is taking full advantage of this time, because this doesn't happen. The opportunities like this don't happen, and as much as we can focus on the positive and being having a positive and optimistic future outlook, I think that you're going to take advantage of your time. And when the time comes for us to get back to normal activities, we're all going to be raring to go, and we're all going to be that much better.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think like that opportunity to really spend time like digging into learning new things and upskilling our wine education, and opportunities to learn from each other. I know I'm following a ton of industry people and winemakers, and following their live like Instagram things going on. And I think that's really cool. Before I take a question from the comments, I see Stephanie's got a good question. We'll pull in here in just a sec. But what are you seeing in terms of trends for what people are purchasing? Like, what are people buying right now? Is it that different than when things are normally open? Like, what's been the trend, if any?
It's been really off and on. I think that what's had to happen in the last initially, I'll say this. We had some people that poached off our list we're still doing 50% off on Sunday nights. So we had some people take advantage of some really good deals. But beyond that, it's things that are familiar to people. And at Jeffrey's, it's a pretty expanded list. So we're trying to navigate that. We're not pushing it too terribly hard. At other restaurants, I think it is the things that people are really accustomed to, like rosé and Cabernet and Pinot Noir.
Yeah.
I don't see people ordering things that are super
like esoteric.
Esoteric right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like that's kind of the same in the food world. We've all kind of drifted towards comfort, right? Like we want comfort food. At least I know I have. I want, warm mashed potatoes, and I want noodles, and I want, like things that are just comforting. And I feel like it makes sense that people in the wine selection would be no different. So, okay, so I've got a question here. I'm going to pull up. Stephanie asks, are there organized wine tastings in Austin restaurants in normal times? What's the best way to interact with somms in restaurants?
Actually, funny enough, at one of our restaurants called June's All Day, where Paige will continue to work in the future. We do blind tastings every Wednesday. And so you have an opportunity to blind taste 4 wines and go, if you want to, you can pull up the grids that we use, and more than likely at any one time you can be surrounded by tons of somms in the Austin community. Beyond that, I'd go to Bufalina. It seems like a lot of the somms hang out there.
Yeah, I would also say, like, in terms of interacting with somms in restaurants, like, man, don't be afraid to like bring over a somm and ask them what they're excited about on their list. Like, they're paid and honestly, like, are in the role they're in because they actually enjoy talking with customers about their list, and they've probably spent a lot of time like building that list and considering what to put on it. And so take advantage and have conversations with them, and don't be afraid of like saying the wrong word. Or I think initially when I first got into wine, I was kind of embarrassed to say anything because I didn't have the vocabulary. And honestly, tell me if you agree with this. Like, I don't think somms really care. They're just really excited to talk to you about wine.
Mm-hmm. I think that sometimes we get caught up in terminology, and when you bring it down to the lowest common denominator, I think it's just that they're excited about the wine and less about the terminology. So as a small humble brag, when we get back open for normal business, Sunday nights can be a really fun night to explore the world of wine at Jeffrey's.
True story. I spent way too much of my paychecks, or maybe still am spending way too much of my paychecks there. Patrick's got a really cool program. They've got a great team, and it's fun to interact and learn new things. I wanted to throw this up there. I saw a hockey reference from Adele. Check this out. She used to be the massage therapist for the Calgary Flames in the early 90s.
Oh, wow. I wonder if Al McInnes was still with the team.
Adele, you're going to have to let us know. There's a little bit of like hockey trivia going on today that I didn't expect.
He's a Hall of Fame defenseman that played for the Blues, I think, for the majority of his career, but he came from the Flames. So I'm trying to think if he would have been there at that time.
Okay, I got one more question for you before we end this. Diane wants to know, how do you start on the path to become a sommelier?
Read books pertaining to wine, drink wine, be curious, and if all of those things still make you want to continue to be a sommelier, get into restaurants that have sommeliers, and most of it is going to be mentored knowledge that you learn along the way. You can learn a lot in books, but you'll learn a lot by just experiencing that on the floors of restaurants.
I love that, man. And from a like non-restaurant background person, the thing that helped me the most when I was first getting started was I had somebody recommend to me, spend 10 minutes every time that you open a bottle, maybe 5 if you just want to start soft. Every time you open a bottle, spend 5 to 10 minutes, Google the name of the wine, and just spend 5 to 10 minutes reading about it. Sometimes you'll go down a rabbit hole about the grape variety. Sometimes you go down the rabbit hole about the region it's from. Maybe it's the producer and their farming practices. At some point, you find a rabbit hole and you go down and you spend 5 to 10 minutes, and you start to learn things and you catch trends. So for me, what really helped was that just Google the wine if you're really, really baseline just trying to get started.
What I want to give you props, Steve, because you're one of the most curious customers that come in, and I know a lot of it has to do to your apply to your job. But a lot of somms have a lot to look at you and see how excited you are for every individual wine, and understanding that experience and being able to live through it. And when you can do that, like, nothing's going to shut you down.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. That means a lot coming from you, and excited to continue to learn from you. I know yesterday I got an aged Soave. Patrick was like, have you even Soaved if you haven't had this producer? And I was like, wow, bro, okay, I got to drink this then. And I haven't had a wine like it. So there are somm classes. I know a lot of folks are asking about certifications and stuff. Check out the Court of Master Sommeliers and the WSET program. I think those are 2 great places to start. I'm certified through WSET. Pat is certified through the Court of Master Somms. Just depends on what you want to do with your career. They're both great programs, and a lot of people are cross-certified between them. So thankful to have folks in this community. Pat, it's been a real pleasure having you on today. We're going to transition away from Wine Nerd section. Dude,
real quick, ATX Somms too.
ATX Somms, yeah. That's a great one. ATX Somms there's an online page, I think a website you can go check out just to see all of the Somms. That's if you're in Austin, obviously. There's Somm groups that are in different cities. If you're in Houston, or ask your local wine professional. Like, they're open to it. So just at your favorite restaurant or one that you go to for a special occasion that has a Somm on staff, ask them where they drink wine. Ask them, like, how do you do tastings? Like, they're usually really happy to share the community of wine. I always tell people the reason I was so attracted to this industry is because wine brings people together. And it's usually a pretty open community. So, dude, thank you. I appreciate you. Cheers to the end of Monday. Well, hopefully, we're going to pretend it's not ending because I know it's your day off. You want to keep going with your day off, but dude, we're going to transition. We'll bring you back on at the end to give the proper cheers, but thank you again.
Sounds good.
All right, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed that chat from somebody who is running multiple beverage programs and helping things continue to run during this crazy time. Patrick is a wealth of knowledge. Guys, we are going to change up the end here. I wanted to celebrate good news. I don't know. I've been inspired by, and I'm totally going to mess up his name here, John Krasinski, I believe is how you pronounce it. He is, famous actor from The Office. I really want to think about things that are going awesome in the world and bringing like light to them and sharing the news and spreading the news. And for those of you who don't know, he has been launching weekly episodes, and see if I can pull it up here, called Some Good News. It's a YouTube thing. So I'm going to pull it up on my screen so you can see it, what I'm talking about. Hopefully this will work and not freeze out on me. There it is. Y'all see that Some Good News on YouTube. So I'm not going to totally steal all his thunder. You should go watch his videos. I want to know what's some good news going on in this world for you guys. So I'm going to put this in the comments. I want you to drop in what's going good or great in your life right now. What's some good news from your world? Because I want to share that right now. I want that to be a highlight, something that we can do together, is to celebrate the good news of what's going on in our world, in our lives, even if it's a story that you heard from somebody else. So I'm actually going to share a little bit from actually things I learned about on John Krasinski's Element that I really wanted to bring to y'all's attention, that I thought was incredible news. Honestly brought a tear to my eye. So let me see if I can pull this up. It's a story. Again, while you are dropping into the comments, let me put this up on the screen. It's a story about a Spanish taxi driver. Has anybody heard about this? This Spanish taxi driver, check out this headline. The headline kind of sums it up for you. The Spanish taxi driver has been giving coronavirus patients free rides to and from a local hospital. So he's been putting himself in harm's way by giving free rides to folks who need to go to the hospital and leave the hospital. And there was so first of all, let's just talk about that being good news. Second of all, he got a phone call from the hospital and they told him that he needed to come pick up another patient. And when he showed up, and you got to go watch this video, when he showed up, all the doctors and nurses were in a line to give him an applause. And they gave him not only a check from the hospital to pay him for all of these rides that he's been doing, they also gave him his own negative test results that he had been tested and it came back negative. And so it is just a whole video of a hospital staff celebrating a taxi driver, just a regular old quote unquote taxi driver, like an everyday hero, guys. I love this story and I love the both ends of it. The cool things that he's doing as a taxi driver and the cool stuff that the hospital team did to recognize him and make sure that he felt noticed, appreciated, and you got to go watch that video. So that's some good news that I saw this last week. There's one more I want to share with you before I share some from our comments. So please continue to drop into the comments. I want to know some good news that's happening in your world. While I bring up one more story, I want to share about some good news. So let's bring up one more story here. Guys, this I think started in Australia, if I'm getting the story correct. But people around the world are getting dressed up to take out the trash. I thought it was the coolest idea, like people can't dress up to go out to like a nice date night or a fancy anything. And some people started stopping. They weren't dressing up necessarily formally. They started just dressing up kind of crazily. I saw one person on this story. She had her vacation to Corfu canceled, like an island that she was supposed to take. And she had gotten a new swimsuit and everything. So she dressed up in her swimsuit and flippers and snorkel gear just to take out the trash. And I thought it was awesome. A fun way for folks to connect and get dressed up. So I thought, how fun would it be if we got dressed up for happy hour? So guys, I'm throwing this out there for those that want to participate. Listen closely. Tomorrow, Tuesday, I am challenging you to dress up for happy hour. And dress up can mean dress up in formal wear. Dress up can be dress up crazy. Dress up can be anything you want it to be. And I'm going to give folks an opportunity to pop up on camera because, gosh, we all need a reason to dress up, and I'm giving you one right now because we're going to have fun with happy hour tomorrow. My friend Paige is joining us as our special guest, and I thought it'd be fun for us to dress up. So I'm going to dress up. You should dress up, and I'm going to drop a link in the comments tomorrow that allows you to pop up on screen. And so I'm going to have some guests showing us what you dressed up for happy hour. Guys, I think this is going to be great. Dress up however you want. Let's spread some joy in the world. And for those that like getting fancied up, get fancied up. Do your hair, take a shower, shave, all those things that a lot of us aren't doing. Like I need to, trim it up and everything. So, guys, I am so stoked. I'm totally dressing up tomorrow. Paige didn't know this. She's already there. Paige is going to dress up for her part in happy hour tomorrow, guys. I think it'll be a fun thing to do. Let's share some other good news. I'm going to stop sharing the screen from our world. Guys, you have been sending stuff in. So I'm going to start with Lane. So shout out to Lane. She had a beautiful new hiking trail at Enchanted Rock today. The wildflowers are amazing. Guys, get outside if you can. Greg, I think this is great. And a lot of us have this to be thankful for. All the family is safe and healthy. Guys, it's the simple things. That's great news. Kelsey got to FaceTime her grandparents yesterday. I mean, guys, who is FaceTiming friends and family way more often? We're seeing and communicating with people way more often, and that is some good news. Sydney is excited about restaurants reopening. Let's see. Callisto, it's celebrating 2 years on Wednesday. Congrats to you and Tony. I love that, Callie. It's good to see your name floating in there. I am loving this, guys. What other good news do we have going on in there? Let's see. Everybody's excited about dressing up tomorrow. Let's see. Tina says Texas History Day was still able to occur virtually. Students have worked all year on their projects and were able to participate. Guys, I love that. I remember taking Texas history in middle school, and I love that you still got to do that. Man, what else is happening in good news world? This is good news, guys. This page right here, Paige dressing up for tomorrow's part of William Chris Happy Hour. I love this. Yes, Trace, I know shower. It's not even Saturday. Carol says no cap tomorrow, D. Guys, I'm a little bit afraid of what's under there. You guys know I try to give myself a little bit of a haircut. So I think it's going to be great. And look, Crystal's dressing up. Paige is dressing up. Ola, weekly crawfish and William Chris wine. Guys, weekly crawfish. That is some good news. Wow. Impressive, Ola. I am really impressed with this. Erin's thankful for her job. Guys, this is a lot. I'm going to bring our special guest back up. Let's cheers out happy hour today. Susie and Patrick, thanks for joining. Let us head. I'm going to hop. Oh, gosh. My brain is everywhere, guys. While y'all are on screen, I'm going to post our D's 3 things. Everybody knows that I end with our D's 3 things. So I'm going to drop those into the comments. Make sure that we do these announcements before Patrick sends us off with a cheers. So those are going in the comments right now. I'm going to see if I can pull these up. It's going to cover our faces, so I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to read it. Guys, number one, we have another virtual tasting coming up this Saturday. There's a link in the comments right now that allow you to go straight to that tasting pack. So get in the comments, click on that link, virtual tasting pack. Oh, gosh, what is this, number 7, I believe? It's going to be incredible. We have 2 special release wines you're going to want to know about. Second, you can still use the code Happy Hour to get 10% off because on that 4-pack, you add 2 more bottles, you get free shipping. You want 10% off of those extra 2 bottles, use the code Happy Hour because you're right here with me. Lastly, tomorrow we are drinking 16 Aglianico. And our special guest will be Paige, and she has already agreed to dress up. I hope all of you will be dressing up too. It's going to be a fun one, it sounds like. So, Patrick, I'm going to turn it over to you. We always like to cheers to somebody. Who are we cheersing today?
I know, being that it's already inherent that I'm cheersing to our entire team that we want to bring back. I'm cheersing specifically to those that are helping buy groceries and doing supportive things with people that have underlying health conditions or seniors in areas that receive no credit whatsoever. They're really amazing people, and cheers to them.
Yeah, cheers indeed. Thank you guys for being here. Happy hour. We'll see y'all right here at 5 o'clock tomorrow. Bye, guys.
Cheers.